civilization is due to the lack of communication. I don't understand why communication isn't taught on every grade level so that you can know how to communicate. But it is not just the vocabulary, it is the art of delivering the message that you intended to deliver versus the art of receiving the message that was intended to be received. And that is a skill set that has to be learned. That's one of those soft skills that has to be learned. You have to learn how to deliver, and then you have to learn how to receive. So we are going to be covering a lot of those as we get through today. We don't have a lot of them today, but I know that one or two of them are pretty thick in nature, so we're going to be going over those. Special shout out to Michael. He says the ultimate goal in life is to move from trading your time for money to having your money work for you through investments. I like that. I like that. That's actually a good observation. Typically, when you're working for somebody else, or even when you're working for yourself, you are making a specific quantity of money for the activity. You're going to do a certain number of activities within an hour. You're going to schedule yourself so many hours out of a day in order to get the income that you need for the week so that you can have the payroll for the period, so that you can make the money that you need for the standard of living that you want. You are trading your time for money in all senses. The effort that you put into getting the money is time that is traded for the money. A lot of times, in moments of desperation, we will put a lot of time and effort into what we would consider quick money because we don't have to wait for um, 6 months to get the money. We can get the money like now or within the next couple of weeks. But if you're putting in 18 hours a day and you are ultimately walking away with less than minimum wage, you're not getting as much out of this as you thought. So we've got to change the way we do things. And we want to make sure our money is making money with us or for us, not just with us. Wolfman says the ultimate goal is survival. Well, identifying survival goes back to what Michael is talking about, because in order for you, so you have two levels of survival. You have the struggle, which is barely having enough to feed yourself from day to day, barely having enough resources from day to day, and having to go back out and earn the ability to have those resources, bare necessities. Then you have a different level of survival where you're not struggling. You have more than enough resources. You don't have to do anything else. What you need is at your fingertips when you want it. Different type of survival. But we have different tiers of survival. We have the beggars, we have the borrowers, and then we have those who have it. You know what I mean? And you have it in different quantities. You have some that have an abundance where they never have to go back and get any more. And you have some that have just enough to last them for the rest of the season. You know what I mean? So while you can say overall that it is survival, true to life, it is survival, but it is not just survival that we're striving for. We're striving to basically buy back our time. We want to have more time in life to live the life that we want to live, the way that we want to live it within reason. And in order for us to accomplish that, we have to make enough money to cover our basic bills first. And then whatever extra money we have left over, we have to be able to make sure there's enough of it going around so that we would be able to cover what we would consider as luxuries. Traveling around the world, expensive vehicles, expensive toys, whatever it is that we're looking at. GTA 6 with the new Xbox One X Series Plus with online capabilities, whatever it is that you're trying to get in life. You know, anything above the bare minimum is a luxury, and that luxurious lifestyle, such as it is what we strive for. Some have unrealistic expectations that are never met. Others have reasonable expectations that are also never met. It just really depends on how well you prioritize your goals. So Michael's going to tell us what money does for him. It's a shield against anxiety, giving me the freedom to handle life's unexpected events without going into debt. That's actually a good observation as well. For me, it's going to be the freedom from having to show up for work every day, the ability to get some rest, and not have to worry about, again, anxiety, not having to worry about if the bills will get paid if I don't go to work today. Money, exactly. Special shout out to Steven. Money is just a tool. That is true. Money is just a tool. But money as a tool still becomes a prized possession or a burden when you claim to need so many things that you just really want, but you don't need. And then you become a slave to the tool because you are now chasing the money to get the things that you don't need. And the time that it takes for you to get the money, you're missing out on areas of life that you could have lived that you're not living. And that is something that we need to change. The one of the things that makes life living worth living is the ability to build memories with the people that you care about. So that makes it more meaningful when you've established financial stability and financial freedom, and you have that capability to acquire the memories that you want to have, whether it's a relaxing walk on the beach, watching the sunset, stargazing, hang gliding, surfing, traveling, or just having a drive through in your backyard, like whatever you want to do, camping, whatever you want to do, but you know that you can do it stress free. Wolf says, my goal is to make sure I provide everything for my family for multiple generations for them to survive once I am gone. That is a mission and a half, because you do not know how much they want, not how much they need. It's a good goal to have, and most men use that as a motivation to keep striving. No matter how successful you get, you continue to keep striving, specifically because you're not getting it for yourself. You're getting it for your wife, your kids, your mother, your father, your aunts, your uncles, her mother, her father, what I'm saying, all of these other individuals. And then you're thinking about the grandchildren, and yes, that's right, Michael, generational wealth, the ability to build generational wealth. You can start that model of building generational wealth, create you a trust. We've talked about the trust before. Create certain stipulations in the trust that allows for beneficiaries of the trust to benefit from the trust, such as mandatory requirement for a life insurance policy, stuff to that effect, where the life insurance policy identifies the trust as the beneficiary of the life insurance policy. Having things like that put into detailed stipulations for accessibility to gains off of the trust that you build allows, when someone dies, whenever they do die, that money goes into the trust. And if you want to set like a high amount for the trust, each person must have a minimum mandatory $1 million policy. And then the trust being the beneficiary, and the trust is paying them the amount of money to cover that policy cost, plus whatever else they're getting. If somebody dies, the trust gets $1 million. And if the money going into the trust is being put up into brokerage accounts that's generating 15+% of capital gains, then when they're dividing that money amongst all other parties, you're starting to see more wealth distributed amongst more people. When the first generation dies out, you're looking at all the millions of dollars that goes into the trust for the third and fourth generation. When the second generation dies out, you're looking for all the extra money that's going into the trust for the sixth and seventh generation. And if you're teaching your kids financial responsibility along the way, that's how you're going to maximize their benefit for um, financial literacy, and then the trust that you build for them. He said, F the little bars. Oh, F the little bastards. Fuck them motherfuckers. Yeah, to make their own money. I was making money for myself. Uphill, in the snow, 55 miles in July. With no shoes on. I took care of myself. Either way, the more successful you become, the more spoiled your grandchildren will be. Fourth generation wealth, financially irresponsible. The message will be lost, which is why you have a trustee in place. So the trustee manages the budget and then gives everybody else an allowance. And if the allowance is strategically designed, then everybody else, yeah, you've been working since you was 9, and I was working since I was about 8 or 9 as well. But the thing is that eventually, because at 71, you've basically been working for like 62 years. I kind of don't want to work for 62 years out of my life. I kind of want to pump the brakes over the next 5 to 10 years. I kind of want to wrap things up over the next 15. You know what I mean? By the time I reach 65, 70 years old, I want to be able to say retirement indicates that I do nothing ever. You know what I mean? I don't have to answer to alarm clocks. I don't have to get outside of the regular doctor's appointment that I have to go to. There's nothing else that I have to do. And that's what I would want to keep current. So while we work on those goals, the expectation is that if you take a look at the membership and you see we got stuff being released on a regular basis. I had to go up there and update the list of things that were going to be getting released so that you guys have a lot more information. But there's ways where as you trickle away from brick and mortar jobs where you're leaving the house to go work for somebody else to make money and start setting yourself up in a position where you can start making money for yourself at your house, off of your computer, things like that, so that you have the capabilities to at least start living a less stressful life by earning capital off your computer and then doing that from anywhere in the world. And then you can taper that down to actually not having to work off the computer. You can actually taper that down to simply just getting paid to sleep, getting paid to rest, getting paid to sit Mai Tais on a yacht in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, just getting paid. Michael said that's a hack of a little of time. That's true. A lot of time working, way too much time working. I work till I'm dead, no matter how much money I earn. My love is never ending. Hey, special shout out. I mean, to truth be told, for me, I don't give a fuck how much I love my family and friends. At the end of the day, I deserve a vacation. I deserve a break. I deserve to stop. I'm grinding for the sake of others. But for the mentality of the man that grinds for the sake of others, ask yourself, how many people are grinding for you? This isn't about being selfish. This is about mutual respect. If I'm grinding for the sake of others, I should at least get a chance to stop grinding and enjoy the wealth that I have built before I die. And I should be able to teach the other people around me how to grind with me the way I grind so that they can be financially successful as well. Instead of me fishing all the fish out the pond by my damn self, I need to teach everybody around me how to fish so that we can clean this pond out every week. But I can actually stop fishing and people can start handing me a fish. I handed them a fish when I was young. They're going to hand me a fish when I'm old. I'm not working until I die. I should be able to work until I reach a point where I can stop. And I should still have 10, 15, 20, 30 years left before I die where I can enjoy some stuff in my life. He says, I agree with Wolfram. I'll work till I die. You got that. I'm not doing it. Even though I graduated from life. Hey, when I graduate, I ain't going back. Alumni my ass. I'm gonna yeah, I'll find something to do. I'll find something to do. But okay, we have to draw a line in the sand when we think about like finding a hobby and enjoying keeping myself occupied versus the stress and hypervigilance of I gotta make this money. I'm trying to get away from the latter. I'm trying to get away from I gotta make this money. to it doesn't matter if I do. It doesn't matter if I don't. I don't have to do this. Now, after retirement, most people that get into retirement get bored and they find something to do. Now, if you're doing something because you want to, yeah, that's fine. Because you want to, you know, occupy your time. Like you love what you do, even if it doesn't pay a lot of money. But when you're in a situation where you gotta do this, because if you don't do it, you're not gonna have enough money to survive, that I want to retire out of. And I don't want to live like that until I die. You know. So I talk to you guys on a regular basis about how we can improve ourselves so that even if you decide to work until you're 85, that's fine. You could have quit when you were 60. And as long as you could have quit when you were 60, whenever you do quit after 60, you're good to go. It's not even about the money anymore. I love helping people. That's a good place to be. That's a good mentality to have. Um, while you're young, you have that physical capability to get a lot of stuff done. Help a senior. But when you reach a certain age, the aches and pains are going to start creeping in. And while you'll still be able to help some people, you're going to be helping a whole lot less people with physical effort. And you might start helping a whole lot more people with financial capital. Either way it goes, your physical ability to perform is going to decline with age. And eventually, your physical requirement to perform will no longer be necessary. And your choice to perform is an option. And that's when you can retire. I graduated from life a long time ago. Also, life is gold digging it, is a garden digging it. Oh, dig it. Oh, okay. Look. I'm gotta get my prescription up there. Sheesh. I graduated from life a long time ago. Life is a garden. Dig it. Okay. Good. So let's go ahead and tiptoe into tonight's comments because as the world turns, we'll spin tonight. Oh boy, the things these people come up with.
Should I break up with my boyfriend? I'm not going to give much information about myself or my partner, but we started dating around 10 months ago, which doesn't seem like a very long time, but it's my first relationship, and you know how it is very all-consuming, etc. It's also his first relationship. He has been very nice and thoughtful throughout the whole entire relationship, sweet and kind and paying for me, buying me flowers, etc. However, he tends to make what he calls mistakes that make me very upset. For example, he called me fat. I am skinny by anyone's standards, and then said it didn't matter because I'm skinny and I shouldn't be upset because I am skinny and therefore his words should have no weight on me. He also forgets to tell me things. He forgot to tell me that he was going to a party where he ended up getting drunk and stuff. The main problem is that we just end up fighting with each other / being annoyed around 60% of the time, and I get very tired and upset by it extremely fast. I get along so well with his family and with him, and I thought he was the love of my life. Like, I cannot imagine being with anybody else, but I genuinely am so tired of arguing all the time. Like 3/5 conversations we have are persistent arguing, and it's exhausting. We are currently long distance. It's important to know we have not been long distance for very long, and we fought just as much when we saw each other often, but I see him again in around a month, and am just not sure what to do. We are due to start at the same college in a few months, and I don't want to regret breaking up with him, because he really does make me happy. Any advice would be appreciated, please.
I'm on that same trip with you, Michael. First, let's start off with you still got to weed that garden. You want to get to a point in life where you can pay somebody else to weed the garden for you so that you ain't got to do it. Yes, we are definitely doing those Harley Quinn romance moments today. And I thought when he said fat that he meant pretty hot and tempting as well. She took it the wrong way and he didn't know how to explain it to her because she's not from that culture. That's the only way I can describe it. Let's start with men are inconsiderate, women are selfish. So if he decides to go out with his homeboys, he don't tell you about it. He didn't think about that. He didn't think he had to tell you. Men are supposed to be protectors, even if they're young men. Women are supposed to be protected. So while it might be convenient for her to know where he's at just to make her feel comfortable about knowing that he's not cheating, it does make more sense for him to know where she's at, because if he's got to go pick out save a hoe, he got to know where his hoe's at. However, under the dynamic though, consideration and mutual respect. If he expects you to check in with him, he should show you mutual respect of checking in with you, so that you know where he's at in case he needs you. Since we're doing the egalitarian society thing, that isn't really a thing. Um, because women don't come to the rescue of their men. The men have to fend for themselves. But yeah, just mutual respect. Let's throw that in there. And if we did, him not doing that just requires you not to start arguments, but just to articulate that you feel concerned when you haven't heard from him for a long period of time, when you expected him to come home and he's not home. And simply letting you know that he's doing all right, that he's made it safe to where he was going. And then he can tell you later when he got home where he went and what he did. And that's kind of like not so much a military debriefing, but just like decanting off of the day. It doesn't necessarily matter where he's at, as long as he's all right. Then you can kind of encourage him in a non-aggressive way to check in more often. But if you hit him with that "where the fuck you been? You were supposed to be here 6 hours ago. Why you ain't called me?" kind of stuff, you're not going to get a positive response off of it. No woman likes to be talked to that way. So why do women believe that they can disrespect a man in that same fashion? Now, the other part is that if you guys are arguing 3 out of 5 conversations, that means you very rarely have a positive communication. You need to reassess what you're talking about. You need to really observe, are you trying to dominate the conversation and get him to agree with you, or are you trying to find a solution to whatever the problem is and he's just not willing to cooperate with you? Because if you guys are arguing just for the sake of winning the argument, you're saying things, you don't mean a lot of them. You're using examples that are completely irrelevant to the original conversation. Then you're debating the examples. And then after debating the examples, you lose track of the original conversation to the magnitude where now one person won the example, the straw man topic. But the problem that originally existed didn't get addressed. Or you have a draw where both of you lose. Y'all give up, stop talking about it for a while. Y'all stop talking to each other for a little bit. Then the first person that gets horny, y'all get there and make up. If you're not improving your communication, get a family therapist. And if that doesn't work, you might as well just break up, because if you're more miserable, when you say 3 out of 5, that's like 65-70%. And if that's 65-70% misery, that's too much. You're supposed to be 80% satisfied with your relationship, not 70% dissatisfied with your relationship. And if you cannot articulate the requirement for improvement in communication, then you need to articulate the probationary position of the relationship, because if the vocabulary and communication doesn't improve, you will remove yourself from the situation. And the closer you get to the ending date, the more you remind them that, hey, this doesn't improve in the next 3 weeks, I'm out. He hit you with that "fuck it, you can go." You only got to say that once. If you're not willing to work this out, you only got to say that once. You can hit me up on social media. I was just kidding, or I didn't mean it, or that's fine. I'm still gone. I took what you said on face value. You said "fuck the situation, I can go." So I left. No person, man or woman, requires themselves to be put into an abusive environment, even if they put themselves in an abusive environment and then linger there. You shouldn't have to do that. Break up, save money, improve your life. From the man's perspective, yes. From the woman's perspective, when they break up, they lose money. 41% of a man's money goes towards his woman. 23% of the woman's money comes from her man. 18% of the money spent on the woman is bullshit that makes her smile. That doesn't benefit her at all. So she breaks up with him. she loses 18% of luxury and 23% of necessity. So, understanding that, she's going to take a social cut, a social status cut, a financial cut, lifestyle choice cut by breaking up. But that's all she loses, though, because she didn't bring anything to the table. She didn't bring any investments or anything to that effect. She didn't build her man up where she's got stock in this operation. She showed up and she lingered and she got. That's it. And when she's leaving with more than what she came in with. All the gifts he bought her, she's not leaving that behind. She's taking it with her. So the guy will save money and the guy will improve his life. The woman will rebound off of that. And more often than not, you end up finding her in another relationship with another dude that's subsidizing the same income, the same expenses. But very few people who break up actually pay attention to what caused the breakup from both sides of the fence, not just putting everything on the other person's plate and blaming it on the other person, but looking at what you failed to do in the relationship that contributed to the relationship falling apart and then improving that. And as a result, y'all broke up because a lack of communication, but y'all didn't learn how to communicate. If y'all got back together, you're still going to have that lack of communication, which requires you to work on your communication. So if you rebound to another relationship and you haven't fixed yourself from the last relationship, your next relationship is going to suffer the same fate as your last relationship because you have not grown since the last person. It's almost like if you didn't know how to drive with your first car and you totaled your first car, you're not going to know how to drive with your second car. You're likely going to total your second car. If you learn how to drive before you get your third car, you might not fuck up your third car. But if you never learn how to drive, you will fuck up every single car you get in. And that's going to be the same thing that happens in a relationship. If you do not fix your behavior pattern and your decision making going into the next relationship from coming out of the last relationship, you are destined to fail the next one because you have not grown since the last one. And that's something that a lot of people have to think about. Being there, I can find me somebody else whenever I want to. But do you really want to, though? And then the other ones that are like, I'm single by choice because the men you want don't want you. And the women that say that are talking about all the men that they don't want, that wants them. Yeah, you can settle for a guy that you're not interested in any day of the week. But the guy that you really wanted, that didn't want to give you the time of day, could you get that guy? Because you got to ultimately understand that, yes, the men are going to keep trying until a woman says yes. But each woman that he approaches, he chose to try with that woman. As long as his priorities are above and beyond sex, when he gets the woman, he gets what he wants. And the woman says yes, she accepts the offer. So if she accepts the offer and that's not the offer that she wanted, she likely could have found someone extra. That's right. Make sure that you like and subscribe as y'all following through here. All right, let's go ahead and touch base with the next one. Some learning moments.
Should I get divorced? My husband and I have been together for 14 years, married for 10. We have 2 young kids, 7 and 3. We have been miserable and living like roommates for years. We can have 1 or 2 good days here or there, but it always follows the same cycle and ends up with us fighting. And sadly, it's usually well within earshot of the kids. He's a great guy, but has a horrible temper and says very mean things when he's mad. To give you a sense for the kinds of things he says, you're a fucking loser and a fucking nobody. I pay the bills, you don't do fucking SHIT anymore. After I lost my job. I really don't give a shit anymore what you do, I'm done with you. Tell me exactly how I'm lucky to be with you. What's one good thing about being with you? You fucking idiot, you fucking moron, you know nothing. My debt is because of you. You are a horrible person. You need serious psychiatric help. I can't stand you, I really can't. You bring out the worst in me and I'm done. I will leave you. If your life is so bad, get the FUCK out. You're the worst human being I've ever met in my life. You haven't been nice in 6 years, you fucking bitch. Wasting my
Wow.
life with you. I literally fucking despise you. Keep it up, and this is not going to end well for you. There's the door, bitch. You need to parent your kids, so they don't end up being babied like you. When I talk to him
Ooh.
about the things he says to me, he says it's because I make him miserable and I'm not nice to him. I'm not outright mean, but I'm
Okay.
tired, overstimulated, and depressed and have a hard time forgetting the things he said to me. I can admit that I'm cold and distant and do give him attitude at times, but I'm
Okay.
truly worn out as a mother and tired of being needed by everyone 24/7. Our sex life is non-existent and has been for years, and to be honest, I don't feel desire for him. With all of that said, I do feel comfort and security with him, and it's extremely hard to imagine actually leaving. Our daughter is having major issues with anxiety and self-esteem, and a
Oh,
divorce would destroy her, especially
oh
because we'd
goodness.
have to sell our house and move out of town away from all her friends, and her
It
best
would.
friend lives a few houses down. When people tell me to work on it, I feel disappointed and can't bring myself to try. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of true intimacy. I also have
Mm-hmm.
OCD and wonder if this is all a function of our OCD. My head is spinning and I don't know what to do. He's Dr. Jekyll slash Mr. Hyde and truly a
Not really.
great guy. But the environment is untenable when stress is high. I feel so
Okay.
lost.
Okay. So I can see what's going on here. Not a lot of women are gonna like what I'm about to say. He's 6 years ago tired of your bullshit, and you ain't changed. So he can't wait for you to get the fuck out of the house. Here's a few things that are incorrect. You do not have to sell the house and move if y'all get a divorce. Oh, but that's not gonna fix the man's problem. Getting her a dog will make her happy. But the problem that we have in this relationship is that the man is unhappy and has vocalized his unhappiness for 6 years, and she has not improved. It requires her, in spite of her resentment, in spite of her judgment, and in spite of her past retaliations, to sit with this man when they're not fighting, write down all the complaints that he has, and then put in the effort to do better. Start with the stuff that can be immediately changed right now, and then work your way into the things that take time. One of the things that would make your man less pissed off, a lot more intimacy. I know you're not in the mood for that, but you can work your way into that. Now, he said a lot of hard stuff. An apology wouldn't really help, but it would kind of make you feel better. I do think that one of the things that you didn't talk about was y'all going to get y'all some counseling, get y'all therapists, and talk the shit out. Being able to get all the frustration off of your chest and his chest, probably individual therapy first, and then do couples therapy, because you have to get past the emotions first before you can express your emotions to your partner in a healthy and safe environment where you're not lashing out at each other because you didn't like what the other person had to say. Um, I can say that the best way to go about taking this type of advice is, first thing you need to do is get a vacation from the relationship. You need to be able to take a few weeks, go stay by your auntie and them, and then come back. Okay. Now, as it pertains to the divorce, we were just talking about this yesterday on the show. You got a job, he's got a job. Y'all don't have to sell the house. You can take over the mortgage if you're going to keep the house. Or if he's going to keep the house, you can leave the kids with him and you can get the fuck home. Now, I know a lot of women believe that they should take the kids. And because they believe that they should take the kids, there are a lot of women that fight the men for the children and then put the men on child support, claiming that it is the man's responsibility. But we also recognize that if the children are with the father, the women don't have to pay child support. So if you cannot afford to take care of the child with your current standard of living, your current income, if you move to another location, you can leave the children with the father and you can take care of yourself and then come back and visit the kids. The children do not have to change schools. They do not have to miss their friends, none of that stuff. But you will not um, be able to improve your relationship at all, your marriage at all, if you continue to consider and make assumptions as if you can't get your way, everything falls apart. It doesn't. Literally, if it doesn't work, you are the only pawn on the chessboard that doesn't need to be there. That's really the whole issue here. A lot of times when women make a decision, they make it and then they claim that their husband and their children agree. No, we just don't argue with you. He said the golden rule versus the platinum rule. Yeah, we don't agree with you. We just don't argue with you about it because we don't want to hear it anymore. But the dynamic is that if a man is unsatisfied, men don't always leave when they're unsatisfied. But they will, in some situations, make sure that you know that they're dissatisfied until you leave. But 6 years of him being disappointed and you haven't changed, I don't know why you haven't left. So, can you work out the marriage? Yes. Should you? That depends on your attitude and if you're willing to improve yourself. If your improvement is contingent to your husband's improvement, you might as well get a divorce. But he fed up with your bullshit, and his behavior is retaliatory, unhealthy, and inappropriate, but retaliatory of your past behaviors. So, in order for him to improve, you have to improve first because he can make himself improve if he wants to make the marriage better. But if you want to make the marriage better, you can improve yourself first, which will encourage him to improve second. That's first person accountability, since you're the one asking the question. But if you're not willing to improve unless he improves and all this stuff, just get a divorce. Because y'all should have, in 6 years, y'all got them children in that chaos for 6 years. Y'all should have got a divorce when the children were born. He said she get in the house, the kids at their age will be given a choice as to whom they want to live with. Yeah, that can happen. That can happen, but that only happens if both parents fight for the child. You have to understand that if mom moves out of the house with the kids and moves into a one-bedroom efficiency, she does not have available placement for the children. She has enough room for herself, but she does not have placement for the children because the children have to live in a separate room than the adults. So if she gets a one-bedroom apartment, she doesn't have room for the kids. And the kids must, by law, stay with the father that has rooms for the children. Now, if mom buys a 3-bedroom apartment and dad's got a 4-bedroom house and they've got 3 kids, mom has room for the children, dad has room for the children, and mom wants the kids, that conflict of interest, let's let the kids decide because it impacts the kids. Then the kids will choose to go live with mom if that's what they want. And or they might live with dad for a few months and then decide, no, I'll just go stay with mom because mom agrees with me more often than not. And then they go stay with their mom. But if mom's got a 1-bedroom because she's got a lesser job than dad and she's staying on her own, the children don't automatically go with the kids. Even because you also have to understand, under the age of 18, the children don't have a choice. A lot of the times they can be afforded that choice, but they don't always have a choice. The choice is made for them unless the conditions are substantial and manageable on both sides. Is that the other one pay the child support if they live with mom? Oh yeah, but they won't pay child support if they live with dad. It is passive aggressive behavior. It is passive aggressive behavior. I don't condone passive aggressive behavior, but when you're in passive aggressive relationships, you're teaching the children that this is what love looks like, and that's not what love looks like. That's what chaos looks like. And if that's all they know, mom and dad loved each other even though they couldn't get along, that's not true. They hated each other's guts, and that's why they couldn't get along. But the children are going to take that, and when they become older, they're going to find themselves attracted to the type of people that perform this way in relationships, and they're going to have the same toxic style relationships. I don't agree with that. If you cannot get along with your partner after the children are born, live in separate houses. That is the best thing for the kids. Talking about, oh, keeping the house together, it's in the best interest of the kids. No, that is your excuse because you don't want to live with you don't want to leave your partner, but you don't want to work this bullshit out either. So you're going to stay in the same house and turn your back on each other and potentially have vulnerable days of sex every now and again, once every blue moon kind of thing, but you're not going to fix the problem for the sake of the kids. Fuck that. No. You would do better moving out and finding somebody else that'll make you happy. That'd be the best thing for you. No, porn is not a good substitution. It's not a good substitution at all. But at the same time, it's also better for you to remove yourself and take care of your own self at your own place than it is for you to be getting it from your partner in the house while y'all fussing and fighting and arguing with the kids. Or fussing and fighting and arguing in front of the kids. Because when adults get mad, they elevate their voice. And they will continue to elevate their voice, especially if they're talking over one another, till the neighbors can hear y'all fussing, cussing, yelling. So if the neighbors can hear you, the kids can hear you. And let y'all be arguing because of something that the kids was involved in, whether the kid did it or not, whether it was a kid's fault or not. If you're arguing over a decision that involves the children are going to blame themselves because mom and dad are fighting. It's not a good dynamic to be in. So y'all 3 times out of 5, y'all can't get along. Y'all need to cut that shit short. But it is fixable because clearly the problem that you tell us is that he's mad at you because you haven't improved yet. So you got a solution. If you want to fix the marriage, get his complaints down and fix them. If you don't want to fix the marriage, leave. He already told you what the hell his problem was. And your problem is that you don't like his behavior. That's it. You don't like the way he's treating you because he doesn't like the way you behave. So you can fix how he treats you by fixing how you behave. He said, yes, they do. I have been there myself. The kids hear it. The kids blame themselves. Yes. Funny how things can escalate, and it escalates toxic. And then the problem is that because y'all just stop fussing and cussing at one another so that the police don't come to the house, you never resolve the problem. So the problem can easily ignite itself just that much faster. You threw gas on the fire after you put the fire out. So all it takes is for one spark to light the fire back up again. Because you never solved the problem. And matter of fact, he'd have probably been so disappointed in this woman for so long that he can't even remember what he was mad about. All he knows is that she's still doing it and she ain't changed. So if you start getting a list of stuff that he don't like and stop doing it, get a list of things that he wish he would do and start doing it. When you start showing difference, he'll start showing difference. And then when you start showing difference, he may come and apologize for being an asshole this whole time. While that does not make it right, you asked if you should quit your marriage or if you should fix it. This is first person accountability, what you can do from your position on how to fix the marriage if you want it. If you don't want it, baby, get a divorce. All right, let's check base with the next one.
Am I ruining my future for not wanting to date right now? I'm not in a
Yes.
good headspace right now. I don't really have a career figured out and I don't feel stable mentally or emotionally. I'm young, 18, and I guess physically this is supposed to be my prime, but I don't even know if that's a real thing. I just feel kind of lost. I had kind of a messed up childhood and I'm not even sure what healthy love feels like. Because of that, I don't really want to date right now. I don't feel grounded enough to bring someone else into my life in a healthy way. But I keep worrying that I'm ruining my future by not taking advantage of this time. Like I'm wasting some window that won't come back. Am I messing up by choosing not to date while I try to get my life together, or is that actually normal?
Part of me wonders if this girl is part of the family that couldn't get along in life. This is the byproduct of what we were just talking about. So as far as getting your mental and emotional state together, you must get that taken care of before you get into your first relationship or your next relationship. A little bit of therapy or a lot of it of therapy to kind of get past some of those hurdles from your messed up childhood. However, a lot of women believe that they've got to go to a 4-year institution, spend 10 years in college, get a degree, get into their job, spend 5 or 7 years on their job, get promoted 3 times, step back, look at the world and say, I'm successful. Now I should figure out what I want in life. I'm going to tell you something. You at 18 years old, you're in your prime. At 18 years old, you are in the certain position in your life that's never going to happen again. And the older you get, the harder it is for you to find exactly what you're looking for. Now, what I'm going to tell you, because you've got a 2-year head start. He says 18, stay single. Look, you got a 2-year head start. You can spend, because technically between 18 and 22, you could get your shit together. You could get your mind right, start getting you some goals and ambition. You can start finding you a drive to lead you in a specific direction. You can start surveying guys while remaining platonic and single. So don't go out there and turn into a 304, and really find out what guys prefer in what they believe a good high quality woman looks like, behaves like, whatever. Use that data to start portraying yourself as a woman of high status, and then interview the men to find out what their mentality is like. Not about how much money they're willing to spend on you. What are their goals and their dreams and their ambitions? What's their 20-year plan? If your goals and ambitions and dreams match their 20-year plan, let's go on a first date. If your goals and ambitions and dreams and your 20-year plan don't mesh well with my goals, we're not going on a first date, because I'm not wasting my time. Any romantic partner that you're looking forward to is supposed to be a date to marry adventure. And the first time that you're going to get 4 hours of your day to somebody should be in a scenario where you believe that this is a candidate. If there's anything about this person that you don't like, no matter how shallow this scenario might be, you would be wasting his time by going on a date with him because you're not interested. You're just going because he's paying. And when you ever ask yourself, would I have gone if the bill was on me? If the answer is no, like 100% of the bill, not going Dutch, 100% of the bill, would I have gone if I was paying? Would I have gone with him if I was paying? And if the answer to those 2 questions is no, then don't go on that date. If I would have went with him anyway, you ain't even got to pay, bro. I got it. I just want to see what kind of mindset you got. Because it's not about the money. Not on the first 10 dates. If you guys check the membership with the girlfriend contract, you see all the provisions in there. I think that was like an 8 or 10 page document. There's a lot of provisions in there. And God forbid you go to the other contract that's got the mortgage included into it. There's another contract that we can include in there with the stipulations and details for the fiance about switching over to the fiance role, switching over to the marriage role, the transition to the. If you can fit this criteria, then go ahead and make it do what it do. But I mean, if you're going to be throwing it against the wall, dropping it like it's hot, twerking with your friends, all this other stuff, because your mind ain't right, and try to get it together, and then at 33, you're like, why doesn't nobody want me? No, you're going down the wrong path. He said at 18, go explore the world, climb a mountain, hike across America, river rafts in Grand Canyon. It's amazing out there. Only way to find happiness is get money. Okay. I disagree with all of that. Okay, and the reason why I disagree with all of that is because if you are family oriented and you want to start a family, the younger you are when you get in there, the bigger the family you can have. So you decide for yourself, how many kids do you want? 2, 3, 1? And that's going to be the dynamic as to like what's your timeline. Because women have a limit. Men don't. Men can still get women pregnant when men are 65 years old. And men can safely get women pregnant where the man's not going to die if he ejaculates. So Women don't have that. At 18, if you want to be a mother by 40, you got to ask yourself, how many children do you want to have, and what do you think the age gap should be between the kids? If you want a 2-year age gap between each kid and you want to have 3 kids, that's a 6-year mission. And if you want to be done with it, where your last kid is 2 years old, at 40 years old, your last kid's happening at 38. And 6 years ago, your first kid happened at 32, which means if you want to have a slow, comfortable relationship, you're probably going to start picking the right man at 28. So that between 28 and 32, you know that this is the guy that you're going to get 3 kids with over the next 6 years. Which means that from 18 to 28, you're going to be maintaining your purity, chasing your goals, and finding out what men think a good woman should do and how she should behave. And that 10-year data census, when you find the right guy that deserves that, that's when you start behaving the way a good woman should behave with that man. Show him wife material, and you'll be able to move forward. But if you're climbing mountains and going across America and river rafting and Grand Canyon and strip clubs and nightclubs and call girls and all of this other stuff that you could be doing between 18 and 30, and then you decide that you want to settle down, but you've been ran through more than an Indianapolis 500. You had more entries than a subway. You done had more foot traffic than a public bus. No, that's the wrong way to go about doing it. Talking about finding yourself. I know what I want now because you have sampled everything. But if you think about it, women are the buffet. If everybody stuck their hand into the buffet, you ain't gonna want it. It's different. It's different. He said, if you have not fallen in a relationship, you haven't learned to love. That I can agree with. But living a life for Riley and then deciding later, I think you need to get your head right, yes. And then you need to prioritize on your long-term goals, because if motherhood is a long-term goal, motherhood is a long-term goal that has a short-term limitation to it. You got to get started somewhere. So at 18 years old, if you decide, well, you want to be a mother at 40, you want to fish out 40, 50 eggs, put them on a shelf. And then when you're 40 and you're not able to reproduce, you can actually get you a surrogate. You can do that. Now you got a budget for the eggs on the shelf. You can do that. But now when you talk to a man who says that he wants to be a father, you say, well, not only am I not interested in being a mother right now, I do believe that by the time I'm 40, I will want to be a mother, and I put some eggs on the shelf. So if you want to be a father, we can do a surrogate thing down the line if you're willing to wait that wait. You can still get what you want, and I still get the career that I want. You know what I mean? Instead of saying it's my body, my decision, and what you want in life doesn't matter to me, but you're supposed to value everything that matters to me. Instead of doing that, you're saying, well, look, I'm gonna meet you halfway. I'm not ready for kids right now, but I did put eggs on the shelf in case we get ready or I get ready down the line. So it can still be possible. I'm not on a time clock because mine are preserved. You know what I mean? We can do a surrogate like 10 years from now. It can still happen. That means that his dream would be late, but it would still be possible. But a woman that says, I don't want any kids, they don't have any eggs on the shelf, they're like 35. It's like, well, fuck, why am I talking to you? Because if the man wants to be a parent and she doesn't want to be a parent, in order for him to stay with her, he has to abandon his wish to be a parent. And it's not fair to him to quit on his dream, and it's not fair to her to be forced into his dream. So instead, if you don't want to be a parent, don't have sex. Don't date. Don't date. Like, you should be the first person to come out and say, I don't want to be a parent. So if you have parenthood in your future, count me out right now today. You know what I mean? Don't get into a 6-month, 9-month, 12-month relationship 2 years down the line where you're talking him out of it the whole time. Because eventually your relationship is going to fall apart because he's not going to be satisfied at the fact that he gave you what you wanted, but you never gave him what he wanted. And he'll have the same resentment that the last man had on the show. Michael said at 18 years old, just getting out of high school, do most girls want to start popping babies out at 18? No, most girls at 14, 15, 16 years old are used to being whores. They just want to sleep with as many guys as they can and enjoy life, especially first time they get out of the house with no responsibility and no instructions from their parents. They actually prefer to go crazy and have all of the exciting adventures that they only hear on soap operas and TV dramas. And then after a while, after a lot of trauma and a lot of chaos, then they realize that that exciting life is for the foolishness. That's when they start getting their shit together and start wondering why they can't find a good man. But ask yourself today, do you want to be a parent in the next 10 years or 20 years? And if the answer is yes, and you're a female, then did you put your eggs on the shelf? He said we could be your sperm in the bank. Well, as a man, you can put your sperm in a sperm bank, but the women have a place to store their ovaries. They can put their stuff on a shelf and then come and get it later. Steven says I can't deal with a woman who doesn't want to get serious and have kids. I completely agree. I'm not trying to get on the date if she's not willing to have kids. So it's like on the first meet, some of the questions I get before I get her number is like, are you single? Do you have any kids? Do you want any? No? All right. Have a good day. Yes? Okay. Well, let me get your number. Let's see where we can go from here. Single? Do you have kids? You do? Do you want more kids? No? All right. Well, have a good day. Oh, you don't mind more kids? All right. Let's see where we can go from here. Like that first date, I already got to know that you're a candidate. If you're not a candidate, I'm not wasting my money on the first date. And again, this is going to be a dynamic where it makes more sense for women to pay for the first date, even if they don't pay for the second date, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to find out on the first date that you are not what I was looking for, why am I paying for that? And women will justify it by saying, well, we can go Dutch. I pay for myself and I pay for yourself, but I'm not being reimbursed for my time. You baited me in with your outfit. You didn't give me a business card that showed me what you wasn't about so that I could check off my list. Is any of these affecting me? So, like, there should be an itinerary. I know it's unattractive mentality to have. Women are going to say, oh, he's misogynistic. No, I'm not misogynistic. I'm just coming from, like, if you've got priorities and you want to meet them, the quicker you can verify and validate that these priorities are doable by the other person, the quicker you can find out if you're in the right spot. How many people go to class first day of college, sit in a lecture for 45 minutes without making sure you're in the right class? Within the first 2 or 3 minutes that you sit down, you lean over to a complete stranger and make sure that you're in the right class. And if you don't, talk to the person next to you. As soon as the teacher comes into the room and you don't recognize the name of the teacher, you're going to ask, am I in such and such class? And they're going to say, no, you're not going to waste a whole fucking hour in the wrong class. You're not going to do it. Nobody goes to the dealership and accidentally buys the wrong car. Nobody accidentally works on the wrong job. When you get on a public bus to go somewhere, you ask the bus driver, is this bus going in the direction of my destination? You're not just going to jump on a bus and ride it for the sake of riding and be like, oh shit, this is going a completely different direction. Drop me off in the industrial industry when I was trying to go into the suburbs. You know what I mean? That's not what we do. So when you're looking for a partner, you need to make sure that you find out from the gate, do you have enough goals to align with my goals for me to take you on the first date at my expense? Michael says, are you penalized for an early withdrawal from the sperm bank? Are you penalized for an early withdrawal from the sperm bank? No. From what I understand, you put them on the shelf and you rent the space until you need them. And then once you come and get them, you use them. But if you don't pay the fee, it's not like your phone bill. They're not going to disconnect your service and then reconnect it later. If you don't pay the fee and you end up delinquent for too long, they're going to destroy your eggs, and that's it. All your money is gone, and so is your sperm. Does the clerk ask you if you need a hand with that? No. Typically, they actually, if they offer a hand with that, they typically just give you a magazine and leave you in a room by yourself. When you leave, does she say, "Thank you, sir," and come again? Now you're being foolish, Michael. Actually, they do. But they're not meaning it like that. But you're thinking about difference. You're thinking about a sperm donor, not preservation. Because the donor, you're going to usually donate it or sell it for a fee. But for preservation, you're renting a space for your sperm to be held. And that's one of the things that you got to think about. Like, do you want to do that? And do you need to do that? Men, more often than not, don't need to preserve their sperm, but you can. And if you did, if something happened to you before you were able to reproduce, your partner, especially if they have contracts that gives them the right to do this, can still take your sperm off the shelf, impregnate a surrogate, and then do the single mom with your child and keep your legacy going even after you pass. In Asia, they have grandparents who take their kids' stuff and create an heir because their oldest or last living child died, so they get a grandchild and then raise a grandchild to raise a legacy. So that's possible. But that's a culture where, like, they budget for everything. They budget for everything. Asia is one of the countries where the largest majority of people in the country are homeowners. In America, we don't really roll like that like we should. With the majority of us are foreclosed, used to be homeowners, or never knew what a homeowner felt like, but know what homes look like and pass by them in the newspaper in the home and garden section. But we don't really put our efforts into the actual home part. That's the trick. That's the trick of the trade. Well, let's go ahead and touch base with the next one here.
Okay, I give up. Just need to see if anyone else deals with this. My wife will start telling me something. Recently, a story about what happened when she was taking our big dog, we also have 3 little ones, outside in the morning. I then told her the same thing happens sometimes at night when I take him out. He's knocked out sleeping and doesn't seem to know you're there until you pet him. He's older. Almost 14. Which is old for a lab. Anyway, she stops me from talking and says, "I don't care what happens at night. I'm not trying to get into an argument. I'm just telling you what happened this morning with me and our dog. This is not a time for you to tell me what happened to you. I'm just worried about him." I don't say anything else but, okay. Then she leaves. Here's what I don't get. She also usually does this when she's been drinking. Everything is a possible argument that she starts by telling me something and then I'm not supposed to have an opinion or say anything. This has been happening more recently lately. I'm close to just giving up and moving on. Any advice on this, or does this happen to others?
Most men that didn't walk into this relationship with self-respect put themselves in a relationship where they abandoned all of their masculinity so that the woman could feel comfortable in the relationship. Now that she has dominated the relationship and has all the authority, she abuses that authority. So a lot of men experience that. Happy wife, happy life syndrome. It's cheaper to keep her syndrome. Coupled together means that you put all of the effort in your life to keep her happy, and she doesn't do anything to keep you happy, which isn't a healthy relationship. It's not a healthy marriage. I got crossed when she said that that's not what she asked you. She didn't ask you how nighttime goes. Now she's concerned with the dog. If you've experienced the same thing at night when you are out with the dog. She didn't have to ask you if you experience the same thing. You are telling her that you have experienced the same thing. And because you're experiencing the same thing, one or two things is the result of that. Either this is normal at this dog's age, or we should take the dog to the vet and verify that this is normal at this dog's age. Huh? Now, first and foremost, on the side of the women, when she's talking to you, don't interrupt. Just listen. Don't interject with any type of empathy. Do not involve yourself with any type of sympathy. Do not try to resonate in any way, shape, or form. Catatonic stare, ears open, mouth closed, listening and comprehending the information. Step 2, after she has shut the fuck up, if she wants your insight, you will give it to her. So, if she wants your insight, requires you to ask the question, do you want my thoughts on this topic? Straight up. And if she says yes, then you can tell her, I've experienced the same thing at night. Blah, 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 blah. If she says no, then you say okay, and then you walk away. Now, if you want to do one more thing before you walk away, you can ask her, based on the information that you're giving me, what were you trying to accomplish? Are you just venting your concerns about the dog, or do you want us to take action towards your concerns? Her ability to articulate which one of those she's aiming for allows you to decide which one you should do. She just wanted to let you know that she was concerned about the dog. All right, now I know. Knowing this half the battle, G.I. Joe, out the door. But if you want me to do something about it, all right, let me see what our emergency funds look like. Call a vet, set up an appointment, bring them to the vet, make sure that it's okay. But one thing I also got to remind you, though, I don't give a fuck how old the dog is. Why are you waking him up to go to the bathroom? I wake my dog up all the time. But I wake him up out of spite. Because when I'm asleep, he waking me up, slapping me in the face, so that he can go to the bathroom. If your dog want to go outside, they will tell you when it is time to go outside. Now, y'all can train each other, because you have a specific time out of the day that you're going to take the dog to the bathroom. After 2, 3, 4 years old, these dogs typically hold their bathroom break until you're taking them outside. And they typically start to get annoying and irritable when you are taking too damn long to take them on their bathroom break. So if your dog was asleep, why are you waking them up to take them to the bathroom? Take the little ones to the bathroom, because they don't hold their bladder as well. The old one, whenever he get up, you take him second, because you ain't going to walk 4 dogs at the same time anyway. And then you take him second. When he up, then you take him out. Then you good. But if he ain't going nowhere, he ain't getting up out of bed, he's not eating as much as he used to, he's getting closer to death. You got to ask yourself, because dog lifespan especially lasts like 12 years, 15 years. He on year 14. He's like, any day now, you'll touch his soul and there won't be nothing there. So he said, I joined at the worst time. Well, you came an hour and a half late. So, we ran through a large quantity of topics, but this one lady, the dude is asking if he should get rid of his relationship because the female that he was talking to is telling him that she don't give a damn about what his opinion was. She was just telling him about the dog. And I'm sitting over here like, well, if as a man, if she don't want your input, don't give it to her. Because you got the dude gets into a relationship and she's the boss. I don't know how the fuck this falls out, because some of them do this. They allow themselves to be dominated. And I'm just like, no. Because I'm not going to put myself in the kind of relationship where I am not even a vote in decision making in the household. But a lot of men do this. A lot of men have already put themselves in there. So many men, they love their girl so much, or they're attracted to her so much, that they just relinquish all authority so that she feels comfortable in the household, so that she can stay with him. And they get used to being in control. And then to they forget to stand on their own expectations. Now, once that happens, after a while, you'll find yourself in a position where the man is no longer respected. Men don't leave when they're not respected. They're used to it. Their moms used to disrespect them when they were kids. They're used to it. So he doesn't know what to do because she talking to him with disrespect. Like, as soon as he said that she cut him off talking about something, I didn't ask you. I sat here and I thought to myself, that's why Ike Tina did what he did. That's why OJ caught that charge. That's why Ray Rice don't ride in elevators no more. You just sitting over here to tell him, I didn't tell you that. What? That's So that's where we were at. Because today's Sunday night, we do questions and comments. Anybody that's got a question, someone's got a comment that's appropriate, we can go ahead and analyze some of those, and then we can go ahead and discuss those. And that's what we were doing. We were debriefing one of the discussions from the one that just rolled through. We got a couple more of them up here for tonight, but then tomorrow, when you do come back, tomorrow we're going to be talking about different things that just came up, because I just found out that they're working on fixed interest rates at 10% for everybody. How that's going to play a role. They're rolling back the greenhouse restrictions and regulations. And there's something else that they're going to be doing. We're going to cover all three of those concepts tomorrow. And that's going to give us the ability to figure out where our money's going to be at in the next couple of months, couple of years, stuff like that. But a flat rate 10% is fantastic for the customer, because those 28 and 30% interest rates, you could leave $100 on your card and only owe $10. That feels a whole lot better than leaving $100 on your card and owing $30. I mean, and when you start talking about a $10,000 card or a $30,000 card, it's like, shit, 10% is so much better than 29. I'm just saying. Especially some of them cards that got interest rates on them, not interest rates, but like service fees on them as well. Like American Express cards typically charge like $65 a month, which is almost like $650 for the year kind of thing. It's crazy. I'm just like, man, that's you better be giving me a $500,000 line of credit for $650 a year. I pay it. But for 10% interest, yeah, I'll pay it. I give you $65 a month. I'll put my whole annual savings on that card, pay the bare minimum, put all the cash into the brokerage account, and then have the brokerage account pay the difference. Because if I'm at a flat rate credit card, do you know how much money I could make if I had a credit card with a flat rate 10% on it, and I'm using brokerage accounts that are operating on 18%, 19%, 17% average? If you look in the membership, I got like 5 or 6 of them right now that are monthly payers that are averaging between all 5 or 6 of them about 17.1 or 17.3% interest. And if I've got a 10% bank account, I'm guaranteed 7% return as the net difference between the using all of the credit cards for all of my expenses and benefiting from this brokerage account. Shit, you giving me $1 million, shit, give me a $500,000 line of credit and put up a $500,000 worth of debt up there. And you got a flat rate 10%, and I can pay that minimum fee. Sheesh. I can see myself balling out of control with that. I can see myself putting all my life savings. We're talking about 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 a year going straight into the brokerage account and then taking the brokerage money and putting it on. Yes. Yes. We could go from being poor to being rich real quick by riding debt. Fuck my credit score. When I want my credit score to be good, I'll pay it down. You know what I mean? Because for every $2,000 that you charge to the card, you only got to get them $200, and then you could put the other $1,800 into your brokerage account. That's how you making money, make money for yourself. That'd be the best deal. But we'll be talking about stuff like that on Monday. And I know I got Michael, I got your show up there for Tuesday about the concierge nurse thing. I got a lot of information about that. And then I got Steven's information about dressing better on Saturday. So we've got all of those concepts all boiled into the upcoming week over the next like 6 or 7 days. So I definitely want to make sure that we cover the spread on those. But yeah, I appreciate you dropping by, Cameron, because Sunday is a day where just almost anything goes. We had a Zero win-win that came in talking nonsense, and as you see, if it ain't right, I ain't gonna address it. But if it makes sense, I'll cover it. Let's touch base with the next one though.
I just don't know what to do anymore. I don't know if it's sincere or disingenuous because I tried to leave. I'm just numb. Why did it take you 6 months to pay attention? Why are you being patient now that I've ended things? Is this a joke?
Okay, so in this situation, he didn't know that you had a problem. You emotionally detached from the relationship. You haven't physically left the relationship. Once you started trying to leave, he realized there was a problem. Now he's trying to fix it. He's being patient with you because he did not know that you had a problem with him, but now he has a problem with you. And he's being patient with you to try to see if he can work it out with you. You are not satisfied with the situation for over 6 months, and you are ready to go. And the only thing that has stopped you from packing your bags is that you don't got enough money to leave. That's why you're still there. Because if you could afford to leave, you said you tried to leave. You ain't tried hard enough because your ass is still there. So if you tried to leave, you would have been gone. Because I know Tina had no problem with having no money in her pocket. And she took herself and all of her chillings and she left in the middle of the night with nothing but the keys to the car. So there ain't no reason why you still there if you don't want to be there. But you're emotionally checked out without communicating with your partner. You're not trying to work it out, but you're ready to end the relationship. If you got his attention and he's willing to show improvement, this isn't for you to put him on a probationary period and try to analyze if he's going to do better. You need to articulate with him what your gripes were from 6 months ago so that he can start showing improvement. And y'all need to check that every week, every couple of weeks, every month to make sure that your needs are being met now. But you must also at the same time find out what has stopped happening from you over the last 6 months that is his needs so that you can go back to doing what you was doing, because this isn't a one-sided scenario. Y'all have to work it out together. And if he improves while you're improving and y'all improve together, y'all can find yourselves taking time out of your week, taking time out of your month, rekindling what was once lost. But rekindling what was once lost only comes from the extra effort that all parties must put into rectifying the complaints. You have to rectify the complaints first and then rebuild the relationship. If you're not willing to rectify the complaints, you might as well just get rid of the relationship. All right, let's go ahead and touch base with the next one because that one was short.
I'm so worried for him. I'm 21 and my guy friend is also 21 and we're alone in his apartment after cuddling. He was laughing, then suddenly closed his eyes, almost fell of the chair he was sitting and hummed so insanely deeply, and then looked me with a blank expression and tears flew down his cheeks. He opened his mouth and just grunted. I asked him if he was okay and now he's back to normal. What do I do?
What? So He came in, he sat down, head down, looking depressed, took a big sigh of depression. You asked him if he was okay. He added, he didn't tell you nothing, but he looked like he all right now. It sounds to me like he just suppressed whatever the fuck was going on with him, and he's got an issue that you need to help him address. Women are not the only ones to get the silent treatment. Women are not the only ones that don't vocalize or verbalize what is wrong with them. But one of the things that men do that women do not do, and ladies, if there's some women on the show that wants to speak up and tell me different, women do not deliberately sacrifice themselves in society to make sure that their family has what it needs. And when I say it like that, a man will not do for himself the things that he knows needs to be done. And then he will take that extra resources and give it to his family, knowing that he needs. But outside of it, Steven says it sounds like he high. If he came in the house and he was fucked up, he was high on some shrooms, tripping, he sat down, gathered his thoughts, took a nice deep breath, got him some oxygen, and now he's doing all right. He could have been on some shit. But one thing you got to understand, Steven, is that men self-medicate, meaning when you are overwhelmed with life, that is the moment as men, before we cry on somebody else's shoulder or go and call and ask somebody for help, that is the moment where we will smoke a blunt, take a shot, go ahead and dip into some shrooms with one of our homeboys, do some acid, pop a molly, distract yourselves from the chaos that you do not have control over. That's the moment when it happens. And the relief that you get from that action leads you addicted to that type of high to distract you from the chaos in your life that you can't control. But that type of decision leads you to having that chaos unaddressed when you come down from your high, which requires you to then get high again. And that's going to lead you in a repetitive cycle, a feedback loop of negative choices. So if he was fucked up, if he was high, if he was tripping on mollies, if he was just watching the walls melt, what the hell is going on that he ain't talking about that got him choosing that as a solution to getting through it instead of communication? Because he could have fixed whatever the problem was. If he needs extra hands, if he needs extra manpower or woman power, if he needs extra resources, he's got to be able to articulate that. Closed mouths don't get fed. So if your ass is hungry, smoking a blunt is not going to make you less hungry. Saying feed me too is going to get you less hungry. So you're right. He could have been on some other stuff. But a lot of choices, after a little bit of psychology, you come to realize that a lot of things that people do are secondary decisions to the primary issue. So instead of addressing the primary issue, you do want to address the primary issue, but you also want to focus on the secondary issue that caused the primary issue. Because you fucked up because of something else. And that is what you need to address. What got you fucked up, not the fact that you're fucked up. You know, people look at surface information. Oh, you're fucked up. You need to stop getting fucked up. Well, let's address the thing that's causing you to get fucked up in the first place. And now you no longer have motivation to get fucked up. Let's fix your core problem so that we don't have to keep treating your symptoms. And a lot of times that is going to require the type of transparency in a safe space. A safe space is non-resentment, non-retaliation, non-judgment. Special shout out Born to Serve. He said he looks like he's straight out of the 90s, and it looks good, brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, the tie is from, this is old school attire. This is another thing that men do. We wear the same clothes that we was wearing when we was kids. And you can still fit it. You put it back on because, I mean, the shirt is still good. It's a 30-year-old shirt, but it's still good. The tie is old as fuck, but it's still good. It's still it's still good. We rock it. That's what we do. So when a woman see a man falling apart on any level, psychologically, emotionally, any level, a man can, when a woman see a man falling apart, don't just ask him what's wrong. Go investigate. Because you can investigate when you think he cheating on you with another female, but you can't investigate when you think that he about to lose his fucking mind in here. You investigate when he about to lose his mind on you, like Chris Benoit, but you're not gonna investigate when he about to lose his mind on himself. Because when a man failed, before you find out that a man failed, he beat himself up first. I greatly appreciate that, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe when y'all come to the show. And then hit that notification button because we live 7 nights a week. We live every night of the week. And we typically start about an hour and 45 minutes ago. So we've been here for a while. But ladies, y'all got to think about this. When a man failed his own expectations, fuck your expectations. When he failed his own expectations, he beat himself up. When he failed his boss's expectations, when he failed his society's expectations, he beat himself up. Now let's get to your expectations. He failed your expectations. That's the last straw, girl. He trying to dig a hole in the backyard and put himself in it now. You think he digging a pool. That's not what he doing right now. If you pay attention to the fact that he is beating himself up because he don't feel like he's good enough. If you don't remind him that he's doing the best that he can and you are proud of what he has accomplished, or at least what he has attempted, you are abandoning your relationship. You're abandoning your partner because what he needed from you was the reassurance that he's doing enough. You don't never give him that. You complain about how he took out the trash, but he didn't put an extra bag in the can. You complain about how he took all the trash out, but he didn't put the trash by the curb on garbage day. You complaining about how the windows outside the house need to be washed, how the gutters need to be cleaned out, how the grass need to be cut. But you never told him you did a good job on making sure that we still living in this damn house. That you did a good job that all the cars are still running. That you did a good job that all the car notes are paid for. That you did a good job of making sure there's food in here for us and the kids. That even though you miss meals because you got to go to work, did you make sure that we fed? Did nobody tells the man you doing enough? And look, low income families where daddy bring food home. He work in a restaurant. He bring food home from work. He's at the job, either buying the food or making the food under the table and getting the boss to approve him to take the extra food back to the house. And he bringing extra food back to the house because he know y'all are going to eat that. Y'all are hungry. And thinking about us while you wasn't here, you got to validate him for that. Because if you don't, these men they self-destructive. They will implode. They will absorb their own failures and sabotage their own success and then take themselves out. Y'all think that shit's just on them K-pop movies, what's they call that, Sakbakto? You know, they stab themselves in the gut and in their own life. Y'all don't understand. Men will take themselves out if they don't believe that they're valuable to their society. So in their relationship, they will take themselves out in their relationship. Be drunk all over the couch, stoned out of their mind, tripping on mollies. Because why? He failed. I don't even want to think about it. So how do I not think about it? Let me get fucked up. I can't think about shit when I'm fucked up. So if he looked like he wasn't okay, even though he got up and he started functioning fine, you need to go back over there and go find out what the hell happened. Even if he don't want to say, you need to keep pressing that issue and find out what. Pay attention. If he ain't talking about it, go with him some of the times and look and see what's going on. Don't say nothing. Just look and see what's going on. You hear him arguing with somebody, that's part of the problem. Not the whole problem. That's part of the problem. And as his woman, if you can help find solutions to his problems that he couldn't find, That's where your value come in at in the damn relationship. That's not all of your value. That's some of your value. So y'all got to think about that. Don't just dismiss it just because he got up out the chair and he went back out to it. Because if you was pregnant and you was hurting and you was cramping and you sat down and you sat there and you breathe a little bit, you done got past the pain. You got up. You start vacuuming the flow and shit. Don't mean you're not having complications right now. He should not ignore the fact just because you got up and got back to it. He should not ignore the fact that you zoned out, sat down, and had to regain your composure before you got back up, and you didn't even hear me when I asked you if you was okay. That's a problem. Not because you didn't acknowledge me, but because you are distracted by what's going on with you to the fact that you didn't even know I was here. I need to find out what's going on with you so that I can help you be able to focus on everything else by taking off your plate, whatever pressure you got on your plate. So when I tell the women to do this, ladies, this is how y'all protect y'all men. Y'all don't protect y'all men by getting out there with a Glock switch and taking out the neighborhood. Y'all protect y'all men by keeping them from losing their damn mind. So an angry man in the house is only in the house with a woman that doesn't care about how he feel about life. She should be there for some of the stuff that she can help him navigate through. Not everything. She can't fix the world for him, but she can help him get through some of that. That's why it's supposed to be us against the world. Not me with you carried on my back against the world. Not me against you and the world. It's us together against the world. So when you need an emotional rock, he's there for you. But when he needs an emotional rock, you there for him. All right, let's go ahead and touch base with another one.
I don't know anymore. I haven't been able to find a job for over a year and a half. I'm at my end and don't know what to do anymore. Everyone around me thinks I'm just lazing around, and my family is threatening to kick me out if I don't find anything. I send out applications every week, and I either get no response or an immediate rejection. I'm falling into a deep depression because everyone is just annoyed with me. Please help me. I can't take it anymore.
Where the hell is you applying at, though? Because, I mean, I can think of a bunch of manual labor jobs that will hire you on the spot. Let's go down the list. Let's start with Walmart, Wendy's, Waffle House, all W's, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Subway, Sonic, Chili's, Macaroni Grill, Bennigan's, Texas Cattleman. I can think of quite a few. We can go through all the restaurants. Because if they don't need cooks, they need servers. And if they don't need servers, they need dishwashers. Amazon warehouse. If you got a driver's license and you got access to a car, Uber and Lyft. I don't understand why for a year and a half you are not making money somewhere, doing something. It might not be what you wanted to do, but doing something. Wait a minute. Here we go. Go to college. You have what do you call that? Study work. I'm trying to think of the words. It's like a work release program for college. Study hall, not study hall, something close to study hall. It's part of the financial aid thing where you work and they pay you, and some of that goes towards your tuition. There's shit for that. Work study, home work study. That's what you do. Work study. You got that. And if you're going to college, you got student loans. And your student loans, I would say use your student loans to subsidize your brokerage account so that you have more money to fall back on when you graduate from college. But your student loans can subsidize your standard of living because part of your room and board is supposed to be in your tuition, and that's supposed to be coming out of your refund since you don't live on campus. So there isn't a reason why you ain't got money coming from somewhere, because even if you're getting money coming from student loans, grants, and scholarships for career college students, you should have money coming from somewhere. But if you just at the house all day long, on the computer, on social media, just chilling, yeah, you gonna have to go somewhere because mom and daddy gonna kick your ass out of the house. Steven said, if all else fails, go to the Golden Arches if you have to. Look, now they got. I'm not gonna tell this female that they got stuff like OnlyFans that can make her a bunch of money. I'm saying that There are legitimate, valuable jobs where she doesn't have to degrade herself, but she can make some money because she has no employment, not bad employment. And there are so many things that you can do. Then, if you got a driver's license, you can become a bus driver for the city. Um, there's plenty of things that you can do if you, that is like blue collar work where you can get a job and start making you some money and sustain your standard of living and not get kicked out. But if you're not applying yourself to nothing, then I don't really know what to tell you. However, I am going to put a lot of fault on the parents. And the reason why I'm going to put a lot of fault on the parents is because you gave the child a sheltered life. You gave the child a life with no responsibility. You gave the child a life with no ambition because whatever they asked for, they got. And you think that you're giving it to them because you love them, but you're not teaching them how to earn it. And since you're not teaching them how to earn it, I put this in the show a couple months ago. If you teach the children 8, 9, 10 years old how to get out there and make that money, you teach them how to make the money in the house, then you take them out society and teach them how to make that money outside. Bring money back to the house. 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. They learning how to run businesses from the ground up. They learning how to be productive in their life to earn capital. Then you teaching them how to invest that money. Then on top of that, this is a whole nother ball game that not a lot of people pay attention to. Then on top of that, you have the ability to groom them to be financial entrepreneurs by the time they're 18 years old. They're always looking for another way to make money. So you shouldn't be in a position where you can't find a job for a year and a half. In the current market that we got, there's enough unemployment opportunities where you're just not working because you're just not working, not because you can't you can't find a job that you want. It doesn't mean that you can't get hired at something. It is easier to get a job when you already got a job. You can volunteer, you can network with others, and that's another reason why going to college is beneficial for you because you can get an internship through your school that can be a paid internship. You can also, if you're going to college, you can network with alumni and get hired on certain jobs that is inside of the field of you and your alumni. So I'm with you, bro. I couldn't imagine going a week without a job. I couldn't imagine. There's so many years where I can't imagine not having something to do every day that requires me to make money. I've got to be doing something somewhere. I'm never in a position where I'm just doing absolutely nothing, waiting on life to pass me by. I'm always looking for another way. And to say that a year and a half, nah, she tripping. She's not applying herself. Um, she might feel like it's hopeless because she put up like 5 or 7, oh, I tried online. But I told y'all that only 1 or 2% of people successfully come out of online applications because those online applications are designed to help the businesses find employees. It's not designed to help the employees find jobs. You know what I mean? It's a big difference. If somebody created an app that was tuned for the employee to get a job, and that app filtered the information from the applications apps that are designed to have companies get good employees, then you might find an app that would increase the odds. But when you have millions, you got now billions of people, really, because with the internet, you're not limited to the people within driving distance of your company. Now, people that are living in a different country can apply for a job at your company so that when they get to America, they can work here. So you have very steep competition right now. And that's what a lot of people don't think about. Instead of going through the AI system to get to a real person, you need to find a way to get directly to the real person because the job opportunity is there. But the people in HR got to weed through all of the hits they got. The same way hot chicks got to go through their DMs just to find one dude that they want to talk to, the employer has to do the same thing. They got to go through all of their DMs and find out which one of these applicants they're going to bring in. And that's going to require you to go and talk to HR. But if you was to go to talk to HR about a job outright, they're going to tell you fill out an application online. But see, like I told y'all before, if you're trying to get a job in a specific type of field, and then you can do a demo project that shows your skill set, and you send them some demo projects in the email, if they see that you have the skill set that they're looking for, they can't find your application online. What do? Send them your resume information and everything through the email. You can send them a phone call, have a direct conversation, have them interview you directly. They want to get more information for you. You've got a whole file. You can send them everything about you. And now they can hire you from direct contact. Also, networking, who you know, like Steven said, who you know can get you where you need to go. So if you want this job, you need to find out who works there. You need to find out who's in the hiring department. You need to find out who knows who's in the hiring department. If you got to become best friends with the guy in the mailroom, so that the guy in the mailroom can tell you who works in human resources, so that you can contact human resources to get that job, that's how you get the job. You don't just copy and paste your resume all over the internet and wait for Facebook to give you a hit. That's not how life works. You got to apply yourself. If you don't apply yourself, you're not going to succeed. Now, I believe that was the last comment that we had for the night. So, I got a lot of stuff rolling out in the membership right now. Tomorrow, Monday, is a trade holiday, President's Day, so we're not going to see any trades. I've got the other 2 trade holidays coming up in this quarter that's being released on the membership. And also, I put the girlfriend contracts into the membership, so you're going to see those being released real soon. And then I have the core satellite list in the membership, so you're going to see that updating itself real soon. And then we also have the stocks that we're looking at for this week going to be released on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. And then all of the ones that we're going to be looking at for next week is going to be released, I believe, Thursday or Friday of this week, so that you know which ones you're going to be getting into for next week. And then remember, next week, Tuesday, we're going to be doing our dividend rotation strategy for March and April. We do a 60-day calendar. That way you know what's coming up. And then we update the information as we get updates on the information. Likewise, I know that I gave you guys information about startup businesses, online stuff to that effect, and I'm going to be curating over the next couple of weeks all of those 30 to 90-day startup plans to give you guys a walkthrough on how to get started. And I'm going to be putting those in the membership as well, so that you'll be seeing, if not every day, every few days, every week, you're going to be seeing posts being released in the membership that's exclusive to the membership, so that you guys can curate what you're trying to accomplish in your lives and then fine tune it. Because I don't have the final solution. I have the first ideas. There is always another way, and I have a large number of ways for you guys to be successful. So you'll see a lot of updates in the membership that is letting you guys know other ways that you can go about making yourself successful. And you got to see what you can afford. You got to see what you can do, because not everything is free. But you also see what you can benefit from. And then if you have any questions or any details that you would like to add, any changes that I can make, any extra details that I could put into there, you let me know through the membership. And then if there's anything that you didn't know about, you can always ask that through the membership as well. And I get you guys as quickly as possible. I read all the messages and communication from y'all. Try to do it daily and get back to y'all daily. So I know Steven can verify that every time he sent me something, he got something back within 18 hours. I'll be checking. First thing I do when I wake up is, let's see who's got something to say today, and then get started with my day. So make sure that you guys take the opportunity to go check that membership out, because it benefits you. It's more easily accessible than it is the comment section, because once I start editing the shows, the automatic replay on the comment section is no longer accessible. I was disappointed when I found that out. So any information that I put into the show, I end up putting it into the membership. That way you can be found. Also, for anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to grab that Stash App link, since Steven asked me about it, I put that into the membership as well. So it should come back up again as a post in the membership, and potentially with a hyperlink. So you should just be able to click the hyperlink and take you straight to Stash App to be able to go ahead and set up your brokerage account so that you can go ahead and get things started with investing opportunities if you haven't already done so. So if you lost it, that's good, because Monday's a trade holiday anyway, and in order for you to get a benefit on a referral, you have to transfer funds to the account. And in order to transfer funds to the account, the banks have to be open. So you're not even going to be able to start the transfer until Tuesday. So it doesn't really hurt whenever you get it done. But doing your research on it while you wait does help. It does help you kind of get an idea of what you could be doing, set up your username and passwords and everything to that effect. Get your profile together, and kind of look at things. And then when you're ready to put your money down, when you're ready to get your premiums for it, because like the cheapest one for Stash App is $3 a month for unlimited trades, and you're gonna make way more than that off of this brokerage account, because at 18% interest, if you bought $100 worth of stocks, you know, you're getting back $18. So with $300 worth of stocks, you would cover that $36 worth of annual service fees for using the platform. So when you start putting $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 away into this brokerage account in 17, 18% turnovers, you're going to be making more money off of that than what you're spending. And then when you start dealing with your taxation and you talk about the cost versus the profits, any losses in the brokerage account, including fees and services and stuff to that effect, can be written off on your taxes, and then any profits that you make is taxable income. So if you take a loss on the first year, that helps you with your W-2s, because they're going to give you a deduction. Take it out of your W-2s. So for anybody who hasn't filed their taxes in 2026 from the 2025 year, that's getting all that overtime hours back as a refund from that being tax free. You will see that refund being beneficial for your investments. He said, can you pay it a year at a time? Yeah, I pay once a year. I paid the 36 bucks once. Like, I think this month is the rollover month. So this month I'll pay the $36 for the whole year. That way there's never a scenario where I don't got the money right now and I gotta wait. Nah, I go pay the whole 12 months right now, and just the next 12 months I'm just gonna keep moving my money around. So even if I don't got money, I'm good until this time next year. So it's very beneficial. It's not they have the monthly option, but they also have the annual option. And if you got it, I pay for the annual option, because it ain't gonna kill nobody to take that annual option. And depending on when it happens, sometimes the annual option is cheaper than the monthly option. I grab the annual option because I only got to pay it once. And typically, especially for those of us that have fluctuating incomes, we find ourselves in positions at the most inconvenient time. The monthly service is due. I ain't got it right now, and that's when the service is interrupted. We don't want that. I mean, yeah, with something like this, they'll just take it out of your brokerage account, but I don't want that either. So I'll pay for the whole year first, and then put my money up on the brokerage account and start paying for all the transactions. That way I'm good for the whole year. And actually, they just gave me notification that the tax forms for last year is ready right now. So I can actually go ahead and finish doing taxes from last year based off of last year's brokerage account. And I can get my stuff turned in on time in February before March. So I don't even have to wait till April 15th. I can do my taxes right now. I can do my taxes this week. Actually, I got to get the 1099 from YouTube, but I can still get my taxes done this week. So, and actually, it's not just specifically YouTube; it's Google AdSense, because they only gave me like 200 bucks. So it's not like I was balling from the other year. But the upside was that offsets any of the other expenses that I would have had, because all of the ads that was running everything last year when me and my buddy was expanding on the platform, all of that goes against any profits that are made, and deductions versus expenses. If once you zero out, you zero out. You don't owe nobody nothing. You know, once you get to a certain level, it's like, we ain't even gonna tax them. So you end up at a $0 balance, and I just ride with that. Since I don't pay, I don't mind not getting anything back. But if I did pay, I wouldn't mind getting a refund. But any time that I don't have to cut you a new check in March, I Take that as a win. All right. So, any other questions you guys got for me, please let me know. I'm going to start by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I gave y'all this information to help y'all become higher value men. So if you can find the things in your life that you can control, that you don't like, that need to change, you can put forth the effort to change that. And then anything else in your life that you cannot control, you navigate around that. Ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, you too can take that information and make yourselves higher value women by finding your 20-year plan, proactively putting forth the effort to achieve that plan, and keeping an open mind and open ears to the other individuals that are interacting with you that you could potentially partner with to aid you in getting to your end goal just that much faster. So, with that being said, I want you guys to make sure that y'all stay tuned for tomorrow. I'm going to try my best to get here on time tomorrow. I already made the script for today, so tomorrow we're good. So outside of delays with the internet, we should be good. So thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Surgical precision.